The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't
The
care.
BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. You know about Christmas, you know about Valentine's Day, you know about Halloween, you know about the other signature holidays of the American calendar. But one that doesn't get a lot of attention is the two-part NBA Over-Under Win Total podcast with Joe House.
Yeah!
I love this.
It's second only to leap year.
That's true. One of the last times we were together on the podcast, we reconstructed leap year.
We did.
And I came up with a horror movie franchise that somebody's going to make, and then I'm going to sue them, and we're all going to become billionaires.
The next great American holiday.
I can't wait. We're going to do the Western Conference in Part 2. Part 1 is the Eastern Conference, as demanded by our producer, Dave Jacoby.
He gets his way.
He gets his way. So what we do is Vegas releases over-under win totals for every team in the NBA. And House and I decide which over-under wins, overs and unders we enjoy that we would gamble on if gambling were legal, which it's not.
It's not legal yet.
It's not legal.
I think in our lifetime it's going to be legal in all 50 states.
It might be legal. And two different things are going on. One is the ones we disagree on, we keep track, and then it becomes a big penis swinging contest, basically, on who was right and who was wrong. And then the other thing is we try to agree on 4, 5, 6, whatever that we stamp with our seal of approval. And we've actually had a good track record on this.
Great track record.
Yeah.
That's because we love America and we love Americans, and we like to help our fellow brethren.
Our fellow basketball fans /
That's it.
gambler people
That's
that are
it.
out there.
That's right.
And I'm fired up because I actually have some very strong opinions this year.
Oh, do tell.
Even stronger than usual, but I felt like looking at these over-unders, I was shocked by some of them I just thought were way off. And we'll go alphabetical order.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head yes. I'm right there with you. There's a lot of shocking stuff, and it's an unbelievable year this year.
So, the Atlanta Hawks,
Yes.
who traded Joe Johnson,
They did.
a superstar who's not a superstar, a franchise player who none of the fans who rooted for the franchise really liked that much, somebody who had never taken them past the second round, somebody who somehow, by almost like process of elimination, is like the 4th or 5th best shooting guard in the entire league. But it's mainly a case of there's
Because
just not a lot
there's
of
10
shooting
good
guards.
shooting guards.
So he's simultaneously wildly overrated, but also a little bit underrated.
What's underrated about him?
Well, most teams don't have a good shooting guard. So
Okay.
if you have Joe Johnson on your team versus some sort of bullpen by committee at that position, all of a sudden, the problem is Joe Johnson's due $89 million for this year and the next 3.
It's a problem.
And that becomes a problem.
It's a problem.
So Atlanta replaced him with Lou Williams, who I've always enjoyed.
Me too.
Who I was very surprised Philadelphia let go.
Yeah, weird.
They hijacked Kyle Korver from the Bulls because the Bulls are cheap.
I wouldn't say hijack.
Well, they got him
Took
for
advantage.
nothing.
Yeah.
They're paying him $5 million, I think, this year they got him for free.
Honestly, brilliant.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
Danny Ferry did a nice job with this
Great
team.
job, honestly.
And then they got Anthony Morrow in the Joe Johnson trade, who is another 40. There's a chance that those 3 guys, statistically, you'd almost rather have those 3 guys than Joe Johnson.
I don't think it's a chance.
Well, but Joe Johnson's dependable in the game guy. Like he's a safer bet in the last 4 minutes than any of those 3 guys are. But collectively, it might not matter. They might be better than him. And then the other thing that happened is Al Horford missed a big chunk of last year, which
Right.
was a shortened season. Really set them back. And somebody that people thought last year was going to be a breakout year for him. It seems like every year people think that.
Well, I want to take small issue with one of the things you just said. You said it set them back. They still got the 4 seed in the East.
No, but I'm saying just Josh Smith had such a good year.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And they had Joe Johnson that if Horford had been what people thought,
Yes.
maybe all the same.
Well, just healthy, that's all.
Yeah.
A healthy Horford.
I really like this team. The over-under for them is 42.5.
Yeah.
And I have them tentatively penciled in at 47 wins.
Yeah, I love them around 48 wins, maybe 49 wins. I love Atlanta. I love the over. I think that I would be prepared to call this one of my locks. I would suggest that maybe you and I together go in.
I'm also prepared to do that, Joe House.
It's funny to go right out of the box with a lock, but I feel like it's a lock. I have 3 pens here.
Oh, okay.
I had multicolored pens, so if you want to do...
Yeah, I like them as a lock as well. And
which color?
I'm going to take this pen.
Yeah, that's good.
I think they win in the high 40s. I have them as a tentative 3 seed.
Tentative 3? Sure. I'm not going to argue with any part of it. They're a 3 or 4 seed in the East. I'm right there with
I
it.
like their team, and I think they needed to change their identity to some degree, which they did. I think the Danny Ferry thing is really interesting how this could play out for them because he was so highly regarded, and he didn't do well in Cleveland.
They've breathed a new life into a franchise with through the old subtraction addition, that cliche, addition by subtraction, but replacing Marvin Williams and Joe Johnson with the array of skills and talents that they have. And the thing that changed for Atlanta last year, and this is the biggest if as it relates to whether or not this lock comes through, they played hard.
Yeah,
they played that all 66 games hard.
They did.
Played defense.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
One other thing we didn't mention, contract year for Josh Smith.
Yep.
Which I like.
Should be a good thing.
75% chance is a good thing, 25% chance is a bad thing.
Just because he's Josh Smith?
Because maybe he decides, I'll try to create a little drama like Dwight Howard did last year and maybe push for a trade or whatever. Who knows? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying Josh Smith is on my radar.
I think it's even money that he's so happy with what this team kind of delivers that he just says, I'm going to stay. I like Atlanta.
Well, we all know how to make Josh Smith happy.
How?
First of all, you let him shoot terrible 18-footers.
At least it's no longer 24-footers. It's going to
depend on Jeff Teague. If Jeff Teague is good and he runs the offense correctly and leads the team.
What about Devin Harris? You discounting Devin Harris?
Not discounting Devin Harris, but I'm familiar with Devin's work.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I mean, they need point guards to... we're spending way too much time talking about
that's
Hawks.
right.
Let's get
on.
We both really like the over for them. I really do think they're going to be a 3 seed. And if they're not a 3 seed, they're in that mix with the Knicks, the Nets, and the Pacers. And I feel like there's very little separation between those 4 teams.
Yeah, I agree.
We're going to skip the Celtics and go to them last because that's my team.
Okay, good.
The Brooklyn Nets,
yes,
formerly of New Jersey.
Yes.
Over under 44.5 wins. And there's been a heavy amount of action. We got all these odds from sportsbook.com.
Yeah.
Minus 130 to bet the over, which means you have to bet $130 to win 100. That means more people are pushing the over. And now I don't know what to think now because on the one hand, that's over-under seems low because I think they're a playoff team.
Yes.
45-37 beats that over-under.
That's a fact.
Seems realistic. I don't like them defensively at all. I think they're going to be a terrible defensive team.
Is that your professional?
That's my professional opinion.
We're going to have a lot of these professional opinion moments today. We're going to say things that seem so obvious, but they are an egregious defensive team. They've been, a historically bad defensive team for a number of years now, and they haven't done anything to address that.
Well, here's the problem with the culture we live in. People, they look at it like a fantasy team. I'm not saying everybody, because the smarter basketball writers, I think, see it, but they look at the team and they're like, oh, look at that team. Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Brooke Lopez, Gerald Wallace, like this team. But meanwhile, it's like, all right, well, they're not going to be able to stop anybody.
That's true.
It's going to be, for me, the question is Darren Williams. And I don't think he's been good in 2 years.
No argument.
For him.
I'm nodding my head yes.
He is considered to be a top 15 guy and, one of those just mortal lock all-star people. And I don't think he's played that way since he left Utah.
Well, he's a top 15 guy. He was a top 5 guy.
He was a top 15 guy.
He was
not a top 15 guy last year.
He has the skill set to be for a top 15 guy.
We think he does. We haven't seen it in 2 years. And we also have a team that decided to trade him over dealing with his bullcrap.
Well, but that was situationally sensible for Utah.
They couldn't have jumped at the chance to trade him faster than they did. Nobody even knew they were shopping him.
They just
looked at the landscape and said, we're getting this guy out of here.
But there are a lot of things you could bring to bear in considering the factors that went into that. His relationship with the coach, their small market status, with their own point of view on what was going to happen with the next collective bargaining agreement. There are a bunch of factors that might have gone into the decision to jettison him when they did and take back the deal that they got that may not have anything to do with them thinking that he was cooked.
You could, if you're making the case for him, you would say he was on 2 bad teams. He was playing in a really depressing basketball city that had a team that was moving, and he kind of checked out.
It was a lame duck city, lame duck franchise. That's right. New owner, new moment.
To me, it's like if you're comparing him to Chris Paul, which used to be a really good argument, I just think Chris Paul separated himself. And I think Derrick Rose has. I think Westbrook has. I think he's on that second tier now.
Yeah, we don't have to discuss
Kyrie Irving or Darren Williams this year?
Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, so is Darren Williams one of the top 5 point guards anymore?
Remains to be seen.
He needs to reclaim his throne. Now, he might want to.
He may want to.
I also don't know if he has the personality to be the guy who is, here's this new franchise, and you got celebrities in the stands, and there's something about that celebrity alpha dogness that like Kobe has always been good at, even after Shaq left. You always, we're gonna see Kobe tonight. You never really say, oh, Darren Williams is in town. I've never said that. I've had basketball season tickets for the last 8 years. I've never said to myself, ooh, Darren Williams is in town tonight.
How many times you say, oh, Utah's in town?
I'm saying when he was in New Jersey.
Well, New Jersey has been abysmal, though.
I think he's a very good player. I've never skipped to the stadium because he was there.
Okay. I understand.
Does it make sense?
I understand everything you're saying. Let's make a pick.
It's a very boring team.
Which one?
I think it's a boring team.
Brooklyn?
I think the Brooklyn thing is going to carry a lot of this.
I don't think
just how cool it is.
I don't think they're boring at all. I think they're going to win games.
But I mean, from a personality standpoint.
Let's think about this.
Name your 5 favorite Joe Johnson moments.
He made a 3 against...
Name 5 things you can remember that Joe Wallace has ever done on a basketball floor.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying.
It's a lack of
charisma.
charisma.
In that way. Okay, that's fine.
Not a charismatic team.
Chris Humphries has a certain charisma.
He does.
We've seen it on television.
I went over, but barely. I have them for 45 wins.
Okay, I went over also, and I don't feel like it's a barely kind of pick, but I'm not.
So you think they get to 50 wins?
I mean, I think they're like 47, 48.
What's going to be interesting to me is the home court advantage, and whether it's a good fan base, whether it's like a little Laker-ish where the people are showing up late. I just don't know.
I'm going to give... That's part of why I feel comfortable in the upper 40s for this team. I think that it's going to be a great fan base. I think it's going to be a great environment. I think they're all going to thrive in it. I think it's going to be they're going to get a bounce. That they're going to get a first year bounce.
Could happen.
And that I think that's going to translate into 2 or 3 kind of more wins than the Pythagorean might otherwise recommend.
Could happen. I'm not sure I'm crazy about the general personality of this team.
We don't know. Who knows about the general personality of the team?
Yeah. Charlotte, 19.5. Let's skip over this.
We can do it very quickly.
Under.
Yeah. But only because I think they're going to win 19. That's
all
like
right.
19 or 18.
I had them for 16.
That's fine.
The problem
Not a lock, right?
Here's the problem with the East, except for Charlotte and Orlando. Like, you have a lot of teams. The East collectively got better, but didn't get better at the top level.
Like better
it's
in the
better
middle.
in the middle,
It
and
is.
like
It's
the
better in the
below
middle.
average. Like it's.
Right.
I feel like night to night it's tougher, but I also don't like just looking at the Celtics. I don't feel like they're going to get blown out on the road against any team in the East except for Miami.
Yeah.
I feel like they'd be able to hang in any other city, which isn't always the case.
The East didn't get handsomer, and they didn't do anything to their feet. Belly got a little bigger. Got a little bigger in the East.
I like that analogy, House.
Sure.
That was really good.
Thank you.
What would it take for you to go see the Bobcats in person this year?
A promise I could sit with MJ.
Oh. I would go see them only for Kid Gilchrist. I just like him.
Yeah, I like him too. I'm going to root for him, but he's not enough to get me to, actually have to negotiate with my wife and get a night away from my kid to go see Charlotte.
Roster.
It's a tough one.
All right, at Grantland, Rafe Bartholomew does a series called Fate Worse Than Death, where he breaks down bad teams playing together, and I have a feeling the Bobcats are
in the mix.
Probably going to be in the lead for that. And also in the lead for the number 1 pick again.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Chicago Bulls, 48, which I'm just
shaking my head.
I don't get it.
It's a stunning number to me.
It's a number that is telling people are saying with that number that they think Derrick Rose is back on January 1st or something.
It's got to be something like that, where there's a certainty about some aspect of this team's composition that just I'm incapable of grasping. It's a radically different basketball team than the past 2 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna, I was reading in some magazine where they were saying, maybe it was ESPN the magazine. They were saying how the Bulls were 18-9 without Rose or something. It's
Everybody keeps trotting that stat
18-9
out.
without Rose with a different team.
With three guys in Omar Asik.
Omer Asik. Yeah.
I'm not going to name all the guys in the second unit, but a second unit, what do they call that? They had a name. It had a mob, right? What was it called?
Ronnie Brewer is an elite defensive player.
Defensive player.
Omer Asik is an elite defensive center, and they had Gibson, and they had Gibson was still there.
John Lucas III.
C.J. Watson was a good defensive player, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But no, it's just defensively they were great coming off the bench, and they were able to keep pressure on, and now they've replaced like Marco Bellinelli's involved, and Nazir Muhammad, and
Nate Robinson is on this team,
and is gonna play, and is like is getting fantasy buzz as like a late rounder.
Nazir Muhammad is on. You just said Nazir Muhammad.
I said Nazir Muhammad.
The Rad Man.
Yeah, these are guys. Marco Yarrick. These are guys that and I guess the case would be that Tom Thibodeau would do the whole thing. Cracking the whip, and they're gonna be. I just don't see it.
Me either. Not even close. Not even close.
Well, I have them making the playoffs.
Okay.
Because I think Rose is back by All-Star break latest.
What do you think is the number of wins that's necessary
43.
for a team in the East to make the playoffs? Yeah. So I like them at 42 and 40, and they make the playoffs as an 8 seed.
And then you don't want to play them in the playoffs.
Right. But that seems to me that's a full 5 or 6 games under the 48 number. I'm calling that a lock.
A lock.
Calling it a lock.
I can't.
Okay.
I'm not giving that one a lock, only because I
you respect Thibodeau.
Well, the Adrian Peterson thing freaked me out. The guy looked incredible yesterday, and what was it? 10 months for him. He's already at peak level.
It was Christmas Eve last year. Torn ACL, torn MCL.
And
where
9.5 months later.
I need 10,000 words on this. Get Grantland on this.
Well. So Derrick Rose injured his knee in late April. So 9 months from there is mid-January.
Yeah.
So if he played the last 3 months of the season and was 80 to 90%, that's a legit thing.
But
they could get close to 48.
It'll be situation driven, right? They'll have 30 games under their belt, and they can make an informed decision about whether or not the most important player in the franchise should be running out there with a team that's 5 games under 500 or not.
And it seems like he's saying all the right things about being super careful, and it's a marathon, not a sprint, all that stuff. I think he wants.
That's
to come
what
back.
makes sense.
My fear with him is the way that he plays. And we've talked about this before. He puts such torque on his lower body.
He's pretty reckless into the lane. I don't mean that.
He's reckless in the lane,
part of his appeal. It's part of what I like so much about him.
Pushes off the lower part of his body so hard. I think it's you are going to have to trust your body 100% to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm rooting for him.
Me too. I miss Derrick Rose.
Me too.
And also, I love how much the Bulls fans love him. That's one of the best things about the NBA. Bulls fans love Derrick Rose.
He deserves it.
He's the number 1 most popular player with his own fan base in the league.
Who else can you think of that cried during their rehab out of the passion and out of the desire for return?
Yeah, and didn't get called out because it was basically a press conference for a sneaker. Any other athlete does that, and people are like, oh, look at this guy.
Yeah.
And but Derrick Rose is like, no, he's a genuine dude. He definitely, all right, Cleveland.
Yeah.
31.5. Boy, this is a riveting section of the over-unders, this stretch here.
The East.
I really like Kyrie Irving. I think he is the runaway choice for the guy who makes the leap from one level to another, if you're looking at the league.
Okay.
I could see him vaulting into the top 15 or 20.
I can't argue with it.
As a player. I don't love the drafts they've had. And the Syracuse kid worries me, Waiters.
Yeah.
Like just to take him fourth and then to watch what Andre Drummond has been doing in Detroit.
Well, it's
I know it's early, but man, if I'm a Cavs fan,
it's not time for opinions yet.
If I'm a Cavs fan, I'm freaking out about the Andre Drummond YouTube clips.
You need to see some legit NBA minutes out of these guys.
You're a Wizards fan who had the third pick in that draft.
Yes,
Would you rather Bradley Beal or Andre Drummond?
See, the thing, the pick was made with the Washington professional basketball team already having transacted with New Orleans to bring in these big guys. The front court was loaded in Washington to make any sense to bring in another front court guy.
So thanks to the terrible trade that you made with New Orleans, you couldn't even think about
You
Drummond.
keep using this you pronoun. I didn't have anything to do with it.
I felt like you were there.
and I strongly...
Now, listen.
I disapprove of the timing. I don't know about the outcome, and I understand the mission in Washington. We don't need to talk about Washington right now. But the Drummond thing, I mean, the YouTube is, I watched that thing 3 or 4 times.
It's a hindsight thing, but I'm sure if he's really as good as it seems like he could be after watching the preseason stuff, where you just watch it, oh my God.
The energy around the basket is really impressive.
Really impressive.
Yeah. Dion Waiters fit a Cleveland need. Cleveland picked him because they had a...
Here's the second guess team is Toronto. Because the first 7, he wasn't going in the first 7. It just didn't seem like that was happening.
Yep.
And it looks like the Portland kid Lillard is legitimately good.
Yes.
But you get to number 8 in Toronto, and they took the swingman Terrence Ross.
Yes.
Drummond, I think if they offered Terrence Ross right now to Detroit for Drummond, Detroit hangs up.
Yeah.
They're angry that the phone call was made.
Angry the call was made.
Yeah, they're bad. They're like, what are you doing?
Right.
Stop it.
How dare you?
Yeah. This is wasting our time.
Toronto also, though, but they took a center. They had the Euro guy. Say that name for me.
Valanciunas.
I don't know.
I got to learn this stuff if I'm going to be on TV.
Yeah. It's public that you're going to be on TV. You have to say these names now.
Is there a pronunciation course?
You got Asic. I was really impressed by that.
Omer Asic.
A-S-I-K.
Yeah. Back to Cleveland. I have them slightly over.
Slightly
just
over.
Of Irving.
That's exactly where
we haven't disagreed yet.
I know.
That's not good.
We'll get there.
I kind of like their team. I actually flirted briefly for about 5 seconds with the thought of could they get to 40 wins before looking at their roster, and there's like a lot of like Alonzo G.
What's interesting with them is there's got to be a transaction with Varejao. Somebody at some point's got to really need Varejao, and his talents could be better. That's exactly where I'm coming from on it. Can't believe it hasn't happened.
Do you and I overrate Varejao?
Who?
Do we overrate Varejao?
No, we don't overrate him.
I feel like I don't either.
No, his impact is measurable.
I can't believe teams aren't like just constantly offering them stuff for him.
I don't know.
How many times have we seen a guy like him affect the playoffs?
Maybe they put out word that they're just going to hold on to him. He's an important part of their transition. He seems happy. I don't know. Never hear anything about him being unhappy.
God, if they offered him in a package to the Celtics for Sullinger and a couple other things, I don't know, man. I love Sullinger, but... All right, so we haven't disagreed yet. The Detroit Pistons, 32.5.
I bet we're not going to disagree again. I like them slightly over.
I like them heavily over.
Oh, well, that's not really a disagreement.
I have them at 38 wins.
Oh, okay.
And I might even... You could talk me to 40 by the time next week starts.
I like them around 35, 36. I'm not willing to go all the way up to 38.
Remember we did a team wins pool last year. Detroit was one of my 3 teams, and they started out like 3-20 or 4-19 or something terrible. Second half of the year, they were pretty good.
This is the
thing.
They
were like almost a 500 team.
They won 25 games last year, the equivalent of 31. So when I looked at this at 32.5, it's like, are they going to win? Be 2 games better than last year? Yeah, I think they're going to be 2 games better than last year.
Yeah, it seemed like they grasped their coach was doing. If you look at the actual team they have, if Drummond plays, which is the huge if, and he's got that free throw shooting thing, and he might go 0 for 6 with free throws to start the season, and then just go in the tank emotionally and do the Andres Briadrins, where the free throws just ruin your confidence. But if they can get 25 minutes a game from him with Monroe, with Jerebko and Prince,
right,
with the shooters they have, I don't know. I like them.
I like them too.
The Pistons. I can't explain it.
They're pretty deep.
I told Jalen's from Detroit. I asked him about it. He just started laughing. He said they're going to be terrible, which made me feel better about it.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
I think the Pistons are going to be terrible.
Well, we don't disagree.
I heard Charlie Villanueva has looked the best he's looked in 3 years.
I feel like I can't make any Charlie Villanueva jokes without crossing the line, so I'm going to leave it alone.
Good idea. Indiana, 50.5 wins over under, and we should mention a lot of action on this. Minus 130 on the over, which means people think the Pacers are going to have at least a 51-31 record this year.
So what's crazy about the Pacers is we're using over/under lines that are today, and I have a book that opened a couple weeks ago. This book had them at 52. So between a few weeks ago and today,
it dropped.
A game and a half, a full game and a half.
I don't think they're going to be as good.
I don't think they're going to be as good either. I personally am going to take the under for the Pacers, but it's a half game under. I think they're going to be 50-32, which is pretty damn good, which is good enough for like a 3 seed in the East. Right there with like battling out with Atlanta down the stretch.
I am at 45 wins and somewhere between the 4 and the 6 seed.
Oh.
I am lower.
So we both have them at the under.
I don't like
You have them much more under.
I don't like them they're all stupid Bill reasons and not like real reasons.
Okay.
Stuff like they're not sneaking up on anyone this year.
They play really hard, though.
There's real expectations for them this year, right?
Yeah.
Last year it was like, oh, look, this cute little Indiana team. Oh, they're going to be good. It's like they're in the lockout. This year it's like, yeah, Indiana's on our schedule. We got to show up for this one.
The one thing the previews, the point that was repeated that does make sense, they were abnormally healthy last year. So that suggests that, with kind of a normal distribution in the way of injury.
Here's another one.
Go ahead.
Lost Darren Collison.
Yeah. Well, are we going to call that a loss?
Well,
as a second unit, spark plug, sure, okay.
They had depth. That was part of the big thing. They had like 9-10 guys that anybody who was in, you felt good about.
Okay.
This year, that's been compromised a little bit.
Yeah, DJ Augustin is who they...
I see, and I don't like DJ Augustin, and I think that's a drop-off.
Yep.
Also, Hibbert got paid.
Well, you said losing Amundsen, they went out of their way to get Mahinmi.
I know.
So that was...
I'm familiar with his work.
But, I mean, that's another defensive presence on this team that kind of has that identity, a tough identity, and he's a guy that's going to stand down there. Hibbert and Mahinmi, that's a pretty good combo of big guys standing in the middle. Now, we watched Hibbert get manhandled right up close and personal by Dwight Howard.
And that's the other thing is, yeah, we watched that, but we also watched him in the Miami series. Tough to play him.
Yeah, tough to play him.
Small ball, it's like, all right, we're going to go small, and you're not going to have anybody to guard on this end. And then, the other thing, he got paid, which makes me nervous. I never like guys right after they get paid.
That's just a principle thing. I haven't seen anything character-wise with him.
He got paid. What did he do all summer? Was he working on his game 5 hours a day, or was he thinking about the new house he's going to buy?
Well, no. Hopefully he comes out and we don't see a Brandon Bass stomach on him. I mean, I couldn't believe that game yesterday.
I asked you this in the car. Atlanta versus Indiana. Josh Smith and Al Horford are the 2 best players in Atlanta.
Yes.
Are both of them better than anyone in Indiana?
And I didn't hesitate in saying yes. Yes, they're better. I can't name an Indiana player.
Indiana's best player would be the 3rd best Hawk.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I don't know. My spidey senses. I'm not saying they're going to miss the playoffs, but I think it's a lot to ask for them to go over 50. I was shocked by that one.
Okay.
Let's go Miami at 61.5.
Yep.
And there's 2 ways they don't hit this number. 1 is injuries, obviously.
Yes.
2 is we saw it with them last year. They have gears.
Yes.
If anything, they understand the nuances of the season too well. They don't mind throwing away a game every once in a while. They don't mind not showing up on national TV, and it's what they do. When they need to rise to the occasion, they will. So to go 62-20,
yeah,
you cannot take a lot of nights off.
That's right.
I went way over on this though.
That's great. That's great.
Went way over.
Way over.
I have them winning 66 or 67 games.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I think LeBron is going to be absolutely out of his mind this season.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but you going way over sounds to me like a classic Simmons jinx. It sounds like you have something up your sleeve. When we get to Boston...
No, we're saving that for the Lakers. No.
There's nothing up your sleeve with the Lakers. You're just going to...
I don't have anything up my sleeve.
You're just going to pull your pants down at them, and that's the way it's going to be.
I don't have anything. There's no jinx here. I really think they're going to be really good because LeBron now has embraced the power forward position. LeBron now has become the player that we sat there for 5 years going, God, I wish LeBron would do this. God, I wish he did this.
It's the most important league development of the past 5 years.
Past 5? How about since Shaq? I'd go past 12.
Wow.
Since Shaq, that 1 year when Shaq's like, maybe I should stay in shape this year. And they immediately won the title, 67 games in the title. I just think that this team knows how to play with each other now. And even reading the quotes, you read something like Spoelstra, who's honest about, yeah, I screwed up. I had the wrong offense in. I put LeBron in a box, and it's stupid, and we shouldn't worry about positions. And it's just like, here are your best 5, and the offense runs to LeBron. And also, you look at like the shot chart stuff that Kurt Goldsberry's done.
Yes.
And it's clear that he's changed how he's played. He likes to go on, if you're looking at the court from, I guess from the benches, he likes to go on the side closest to where the benches are, like right around the foul line, and he sets up shop there, and that's where he creates most of his offense, and he's really good at it.
If we were trying to nitpick, if we were trying to come up with a narrative for keeping them around
injuries, that's
60.
It. Just injuries.
Well, there's still, Battier Haslam has a lot of miles on it, that combo.
But they're not going to, and so does Ray Allen.
And so does Mike Miller.
But they're not going to need the big minutes from those guys. The thing for me is Wade is healthy this year. Wade was not healthy last year.
Wade was not healthy last year.
Wade was playing on one leg last year, and every once in a while, he would miraculously regain the ability to jump high.
It was a miracle?
It was apparently a miracle.
Okay.
And we're all supposed to believe that it was conceivable that he could jump higher this week than last week.
Well, sometimes there are medical miracles.
They have little, I guess, things that they can stimulate.
Stimulation.
Ways.
He was stimulated.
It's ways to stimulate.
He was stimulated.
There's stimulation.
All right,
I know that when I'm in pain, it takes me longer to recover. But Wade looked great in the preseason.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little FU with Wade.
This is the thing about Miami
FU.
that makes it the most. I'm not gonna propose that we call them a lock at 62 is a number. That's a pretty tough number.
You can't have any injuries at 62.
Right.
You need your best 2 guys to play.
But I agree.
155 games.
I have been impressed by how hard they've been going in preseason. What's this team got to go hard in preseason for?
I think this team had a ton of pressure on it the last 2 years, and more pressure than I think anybody could understand. And they won the title, and they're feeling good about themselves. They're going to run through the league like a freaking steak knife.
It's a swag year.
It's a swag year.
This is a Miami swag year.
And it's a LeBron, I'm the best guy in the league now year.
Yep.
Do not ask me any more questions about anything. I'm just going to kick your ass.
That's right.
Here's the thing that I don't know if this will surface into the playoffs or what, but Wade, it's a Bob Ryan word, calibration.
Oh.
The calibration of the team.
Nice.
So Wade is banged up in the playoffs. LeBron has to assume a bigger level of burden.
Mm-hmm.
The calibration falls into place.
Yes.
Wade is the quote-unquote sidekick. LeBron is the guy, everything runs through him. So now Wade has spent the whole summer kind of living in the shadow, gloms onto the gold medal. Oh, no, he doesn't glob on the gold medal. He didn't even play in the Olympics.
He didn't play.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I blanked for a second. He's just recovering. LeBron's doing the gold medal. I don't know if he's ready to be the sidekick yet.
You know what I expect?
Is he ready to be the sidekick
Honest to goodness, I bet he comes out hella fire. I think the first 30, 35 games, we're going to see some D-Wade. There might even be some D-Wade for MVP kind of chatter in the background, just because he's going to be coming out.
But is that good for the calibration of Miami?
Well, what I'm coming to, though, is that reestablishes his importance to the role. That sort of affirms the collective psyche. But I think that he is cool with where they ended up last year in terms of that responsibility when it's crunch time come next April.
We filmed some SportsCenter segments on Friday, and we were talking about and Jalen and Magic both think Wade is fine with this whole thing.
I think it too. I'm agreeing.
Wade's like, yeah, LeBron can do all the work. I'm going to get my rings, and I'm going to be on the 65-win team. And we were talking about, is this the equivalent of if let's say I have a mansion and I want a pool, and I have to build the pool myself, and then my friend Pat Riley says, nah, you don't have to build the pool. We'll go get LeBron. LeBron will build the pool for us. And then we'll just get to hang out. All right, cool. We'll go get LeBron. He gets LeBron. He makes the pool. So he built the pool and he made it. And now Wade and Riley are sitting there drinking lemonades and laughing their asses off that they convinced their biggest rival to build their pool for them. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, all of them it took a pretty collective. LeBron didn't just build the pool by himself.
LeBron was the guy they had to go through to win the title. They convinced him to play on their team.
Well, I don't know. That's.
What do you mean you don't know?
That's a lot. I'm a guy that loves conspiracy theories, but that's a whole lot
I'm not saying it's conspiracy theory. I'm just saying, like, the way it worked out.
LeBron could have gone to New York. LeBron could have gone to. There's a whole bunch of situations LeBron could have gone to Chicago.
He went to Dwayne Wade's team.
I understand that, but what I'm saying though is that it's not necessarily the case that Miami. Well, actually, that team was terrible before. Yeah, okay, I'm there. I get where you're going with it.
He built the pool. He put in 18 hours a day in the pool building it.
But
and Wade was inside playing Xbox.
It made sense for him too. It made sense for him to go do that. He wants
I'm just
rings.
saying it could not have. So their point was it could not have worked out better for Wade. If anything, Wade's kind of an evil genius. And Wade's like, all right, yeah, go ahead. Think that I'm the sidekick. I'm the guy who convinced my number one rival to come to Miami.
Well, not just.
And now I have 2 rings instead of 1.
Yeah, not just LBJ, but Bosh was pretty important to get too. The 2 most important players in that free agent class.
And Bosh, everyone forgot, was the big winner last year in the finals. Bosh played hurt. He was really good. He was really good last 2 games against the Celtics.
I was going to say that
killed us in Game 7.
It
kills me to admit it, but he killed us.
He did.
And then.
That was the reason.
In the finals, he was really good, and defensively, he was really good, and they couldn't figure out how to match up with him.
Nope.
Miami's good.
We both like the over. We're not going to call it a lock, but they're good.
I think 66-67 is in play for them,
okay.
But they have to be healthy.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Milwaukee.
Yep.
37.5 wins seems a little high. I have them in the 32-33 range of going under.
Wow. Why? This is the thing. I've gotten Milwaukee wrong each of the past 2 seasons. I just have this. I don't know where it comes from. This irrational thing about Scott Skiles, and I can't really come up with the justification for why. I love Ilyasova. I really just like all of the intangibles that I see in his game. Brandon Jennings is exciting. Jennings and Ellis together. I think they're going to win. The number here is 37.5, and I think they're going to win 37 games, so I'm going under. I'm not going to go over.
Such a wuss. We've agreed on
I've been wrong on Milwaukee, and I think they're a 37-win team. It's not my fault that it's 37.5.
Regardless, this is the longest we'll talk about them on a podcast this year. And I will say that I don't really love the matchup of Brandon Jennings and Monte Ellis the more I've been thinking about it.
Why?
I think it's fun if it's a pickup basketball game.
Yep.
If we're playing pickup and those 2 guys are on the other team, we're like, oh, crap. Oh, how do we cover? Like, whatever. But in professional basketball where you have plays and you watch tape and you figure out ways to stop kind of gimmicky things, like to be able to stop 2 shoot-first guards like that who are undersized, who you can exploit in the other end, I think it's pretty easy.
Well, I mean, we just watched in Gold State, so
yeah.
How different is, the Jennings-Ellis combo from the Curry-Ellis combo?
It's not different.
Jennings gets to the hole a little bit more. I don't
Curry's
know.
more of thinks more for his teammates, I think, a little bit. But
yeah.
Jennings seems streaky to me, and Monte seems streaky to me. So I think it's one of those games that here's my prediction for them. They'll be one of those teams, like, they'll just beat Miami in Miami one night.
Right.
And you'll be like, what? Who got hurt? No, nobody got hurt? And you just be, like, shocked. And it'll be like, Jennings had 38, Monte Ellis had 35, and they just scored 120 points.
If they could have gotten one trustworthy defensive guy. I know they got Dylan Bear, who knows how to play defense, but, I mean...
Makes me nervous that he's been on 4 teams in 4 years.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm a little under because I just think they're like 36 or 37 wins and it's 37.5, and I understand why you're more
All
than
right.
that. But
Knicks 46.5, which seems a little high.
yeah, that's high for me. I pretty intensely dislike this Knicks team.
Wow.
Pretty intensely.
Okay, explain.
I think that they took a doo-doo on everything that made them interesting and kind of gutted the core principle, the core trajectory that the team was on. Letting Landry, I understand the math that drove the Landry Fields decision, and I understand the I'm going to call it betrayal that they think that Jeremy Lin visited upon them. What they really have a problem with, though, is an identity problem, and it starts and ends with Carmelo Anthony. Who is Carmelo Anthony? Is he a superstar? Well, do this Google for me, America. Google worst playoff records and look up Carmelo Anthony in the playoffs and see where he falls in the top 10.
Now, the advanced metric nerds would say that that's a flawed stat.
I don't care about the
Depends on your
stat.
teammates.
He needs to get to the second round of the playoffs.
See, I don't think that's the problem. I disagree. I'm going to respectfully disagree with
That's
my
fine.
longtime friend Joe House.
Yeah.
The problem is that the three best players in the team cannot be played at the same time.
That's another problem.
That's
I agree.
the biggest problem to me. You have the three guys, the three most highly paid guys in your team, who make I think a combined like $55 million.
Yes.
And it doesn't make sense to play all three of them at the same time.
What makes the most
So
sense?
what do you do?
Amari's got to come off the bench.
Amari has to come off the bench.
You can't. No serious person can come up with an argument to the contrary.
You know who comes up with an argument to the contrary?
Who?
Amari Stoudemire. He doesn't want to come off the bench.
Well, because he's not a serious
Makes
person.
$20 million a year.
He cares more about. And then, hey, look, he's incented properly.
The worst thing that happened to him was those 2 months before the Carmelo trade stuff started, when he was like getting MVP chance and it was his team and everybody liked that team and he was kind of the man.
He deserved it.
He's not coming off the bench.
Well, he should come off the bench. If
I
they
mentioned this to Zach Lowe. I think there's a chance he's on the Nets in like 3 months.
that would make sense. That would be
make sense.
interesting. That would make sense.
The Nets get out of that. The Knicks get out of that contract.
What can the Nets return back?
Chris Humphries, and what's the guy with the funky foreign name on the Nets?
Oh, Tele.
Remind me not to do this when I'm on live television.
The guy with the funky name.
Tetrovic?
Teletovic?
Teletovic.
The guy that they picked up that essentially ruined their ability to go after Dwight Howard?
Yes,
That guy?
that
Yeah,
guy.
that's Teletovic.
Teletovic.
Yes.
So they could trade Chris Humphries and Teletovic and $3 million to the Knicks for Amari Stoudemire.
It's interesting. Does that help them?
It helps them in the fact that they already suck defensively, but it makes them better offensively.
I don't know. Chris
It's a
Humphries.
bigger name.
Chris Humphries bangs boards.
He does.
But
I was scared for like 1 millisecond there. When you said bangs, I got really frightened. Thank God that turned out well.
You're welcome.
So anyway,
Well, I don't like the Knicks.
well, we've talked about this, but it really makes me mad that they didn't sign Lin, but then they basically spent the money on this hodgepodge of dudes. So it definitely wasn't a financial, it was a total spite decision.
It was a
wasn't
spite
financial
decision.
And you know what? It hurt their chances to get Chris Paul. That was the underrated thing of that whole thing. If they have Jeremy Lin, they have a better chance of getting Chris Paul next summer when he realizes he doesn't want to play in the Clippers anymore.
Why can't they get Chris Paul anyway?
Because they don't have this flexibility.
How could they
They'd have to kill Amari Stoudemire.
He's going to be on a different team. That's where how this is going to end.
He's not going to be a Knick.
He is not going to be a Knick.
I think
That's
they're
a
trading him.
lock.
They're trading him.
That is a lock. I like the Knicks at. I honestly think they're good. They're going to be about 45, 46. They're not going to be
46.
way under.
God, we agree on everything.
So
I'm at 46.
yeah.
I think Brooklyn, Indiana, the Knicks, and Atlanta are all within 2 wins of each other. But I have Atlanta at the top.
Yeah, I like Atlanta at the top of that foursome as well. And we're just going to agree slightly under for the Knicks.
You think Felton's going to be good this year?
No. Good God, no.
I actually think he's going to be half
Triple
decent.
no. No.
I think he's going to be good.
I don't. What's good mean?
Not
Yeah.
the big fat guy that we saw last year.
I mean, I guess if that's the bar, then yes, he won't be fat. He won't be as fat. I
Hey,
can see that.
As Ray Felton himself said, he's been in the league 8 years and he's only been out of shape for one of them. Actual quote from Ray Felton.
It's the greatest.
So 7 out of the 8 seasons he's been in shape.
Not a guy with a thick skin, Ray Felton.
Well, in one sense, yes. In the fat person sense.
Thick skin with fat cells. But,
he has thick fat cells.
It didn't go great for him in Portland.
Not a good match.
You
don't want to be a fat point guard in Portland. You don't really want to be in Portland.
I love Portland. What do
I
you
love
mean?
Portland too, but that's a tough place to play.
It's a tough
They only have
place
one team.
to play if you don't show up every day.
Yes.
But another place that's tough to play if you don't show up every day? New
York
York.
City. It's a good point.
Yeah.
But Davey, he's already done well there.
Well,
I say 46, and I think anybody who even mentions them as a title contender should be electrocuted.
Come on.
Don't even mention them. They are not allowed to be mentioned.
The single best thing they did was steal Ronnie Brewer. That was the best move they made in the offseason.
That was a nice move.
It was.
I must have been away when they did that. I had no idea they did that.
They're a good defensive team.
I like that him and J.R. Smith are on the same team. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde
It
type
really
thing.
is. It's a yin and yang.
Couldn't be more different.
Yep. It's good.
Yeah.
It is. It's the yin and the yang. I don't know who's on top.
I want to see Ronnie Brewer and Andrew Bogut. They're 2 of my 5 bent elbow all-star team. I don't have the other 3 though.
I don't like that.
I can't think of 3. I need 3 other guys to fill out that team.
I don't like those elbows. I don't like
Bogut.
that. Yeah.
He got shoved too in that play.
He did get shoved. We're not on the West yet.
Orlando.
Yeah.
24.5 seems high.
Doesn't seem high to me.
Oh, we're gonna disagree.
Finally.
I have them under. I have them at 22.
I have them slightly over at 26. I just think in the big guy zone, Ion.
Gustavo Ion.
They have him, and
that's not really a reason. Vucevic from Philly.
Yeah, so you know what? Those are 2 guys that can kind of play. Big baby.
Those are 2 guys who can kind of play. That's your reasoning.
We're looking at 24 wins.
Okay,
that's a team that goes 24 and 48.
All right, keep going.
So I like them at 26 and 46. Is that the math? Did I do that math right?
26 and 56.
26 and 56. That's yeah. That's pretty terrible.
So we disagree.
26 and 56 is terrible. And when I look at the Orlando roster, I like Aflalo, I like Ion, I like Vucevic, I like JJ Redick. I mean, I like, there are a bunch of Big Baby's not horrendous. These are guys that can play professional basketball. There are 6 guys on this team that can play professional basketball. That's good enough for 26 wins. I like the over.
You didn't even mention Dwight Howard Ewing theory. Wish you'd gone the whole way. He's a great Ewing theory candidate.
For the extra 2 wins to get the over?
I'm going under for this reason. And it's purely psychological. The Dwight Howard trade is clearly going to be such a gigantic win for the Lakers. And they got basically nothing for him. They got Aflalo, who's a really solid 2-guard.
Mm-hmm. Aflalo and Ion and...
No, Ion was in the Ryan Anderson trade.
Oh, that's right.
They got Mo Harkless, and they got Mo Harkness, and they got Vucevic.
Yeah.
Vucevic. I really got to learn these names.
You have to learn them. You're not going to be on TV saying them quickly. Seminar? They're not going to go slow on TV.
But meanwhile, so they got all this hodgepodge of dudes, and then on the other hand, Dwight is going to be just doing the Superman thing and alley-oop dunking Steve Nash, and I think spiritually it's a bummer. And then on top of it, they've been pretty clear they want to tank. They want to bottom out. That's why they made this trade. So I think even if they have some of the players you mentioned,
yes,
they're going to be trading some of those players or making deals for future for now type trades. Because
that's I don't.
To me, they've told me their game plan, and their game plan is we want to suck really, really badly.
Yeah. Is this trade? Is this draft a draft to suck in?
I don't know. You can always sell your fans on a draft.
That's true.
So anyway.
Okay, you make a solid point. I'm still going to go with 26.
All right,
it's
so we
reasonable.
disagree.
Yeah, it's good.
Philly 46.5. I am going way under with 41.
Wow.
I do not like this team.
I like this team.
Part of me wanted to pick them to win 35.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I think Bynum. I'd totally defend the trade. I think they had to do it. I would do it 100 times out of 100. I don't like anything I've seen from the whole Bynum thing so far.
2 in a row.
He looked fat. He's having knee surgery thingies, like possibilities. He came in with a terrible hairdo. Came in with Malcolm Jamal Warner's season 4 Cosby Show haircut. I don't know. There's a lot of Evan Turner, and the advanced metrics just don't back up anything about the Evan Turner. And I've been one of his last defenders, but it seems like the more he has the ball, the worse you're off. Then you go from Lou Williams to Nick Young. They lose Elton Brand, who was a really underrated defensive player for them, I thought. They lost Jody Meeks, who had some good moments for them. I didn't really like anybody they added.
Other than
and they lost Iguodala.
They did lose Iguodala.
They lost their best player, who not a franchise player, but is their best defensive player. I think they're worse defensively. They added Nick Young as the worst defensive player probably at that position.
I don't have a good rebuttal, and the reason is because I am I'm irrationally overvaluing the contribution that Bynum is going to make. So you just made 8 great points that I don't have a good rebuttal for, but I'm going to take the over because that's what I was prepared to do, because I think Bynum is going to play 70 games.
Okay.
And I think that's good enough in the East for them to get to 47 wins.
All right, so a couple different things going on here. One, you need to get to the 70 games with him.
I understand.
Which he has a bad history with. 2,
I understand.
This is his team. And you talk about, like, they always make the list of the new additions and new guys and new places. Everybody who went to another team, if you just go down the list,
yes,
it's not really their team. I mean, the closest you could say is maybe Jeremy Lin in Houston is going to be quote unquote his team. But
wait, what list? What are we?
I'm just saying, like, if say SportsCenter is doing a thing, they're doing a feature on. Here are the faces that changed over the summer, and new, Steve Nash is in LA.
Are you talking about year to year though?
No, just right now.
Oh, this year.
Dwight Howard's in LA.
Yeah, that's not Dwight Howard's
Andre
team.
Iguodala's in Denver.
That ain't. Well, that is his team. Whose team is it?
I would say that's Ty Lawson's team more than
Nah.
Yeah.
Ty Lawson's
it's
important.
It's not Andre Iguodala's team. It's actually George Karl's
Andre
team.
Iguodala, by the way, is George Karl's team.
It's George Karl's
He's
team.
Top 3 most important player for the gold medal that we just won. Andre Iguodala.
Stop it.
Who else played the defense that he played? Top 3.
Come on.
I don't care.
We're
I don't
gonna
care
edit
what you
that
say.
out of the podcast. That's so
I don't
stupid.
care what you say.
Stop it. So this is Bynum's team, and when it's your team, not only is it your team on the floor and in crunch time and all that, but you also have to be the leader of the team. Everything falls in place behind you. You set the example. You set the example in practice. The other guys are watching you loaf through sprints, and they're like, oh, well, Andrew's not trying the sprints. This is a guy who acted like, let's say it, a weirdo in Los Angeles. He was a weird guy in Los Angeles.
I regret my pick, but I'm standing by it. I mean, honestly, the answer to the rebuttal would be, and I tried to just formulate it in my head, is Doug Collins, but I just can't get it out.
That makes
I can't make the argument.
Now you have the Doug Collins, year 3 of Doug Collins.
I can't make the argument.
Year
I
3
wanted
of Doug
to.
Collins, and you can't switch. You made your pick.
I know, I'm good with it.
I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but
I'm going to say Jason Richardson.
Oh, yeah, Jason Richardson.
No, he's good. I mean,
I forgot they have him.
They do have him.
I actually think
they can score the basketball, right? The Holiday, Richardson, Nick Young can score. In Evan Turner, Shane Hawes. Spencer Hawes.
They need 68 to 70 games from Bynum. And he also needs to embrace, this is my city, this is my thing. We haven't even talked about sports radio coming after him. The Philly fans, like all that part of when you can be a polarizing athlete in Philly.
You have an avalanche of good reasons. I don't have anything to keep it from falling on my head other than 70 games out Andrew Bynum, and I'm sticking with my 47.
I have them at 41 wins, and I really thought about going to 35. But the bottom line is, if Bynum even plays 60 games, they're a 500 team. Because he is unlike any. I mean, go through this conference.
Yes.
There's nobody like him in the East.
That's right.
Roy Hibbert was the closest one, and he would destroy Roy Hibbert.
He's going to.
Yeah, and probably will.
We'll enjoy that. I'll
and then
enjoy
I'm
it.
going there. Yeah. All right. Toronto.
Okay. Yeah.
Toronto's over-under is 33 wins, and there's been action on the over. It is up to minus 125. I'll let you go first.
That makes sense. I like the over for Toronto.
I do too.
I think they're kind of an interesting team. I think they're headed in the right direction, notwithstanding the failed effort to get Steve Nash. I actually think that sort of translates into a positive bump for them, a little bounce that they went kind of all in. They did an all in kind of move for something that was to help the franchise. I think it's going to have residual effect on them. And I think I like them in the high 30s, maybe even talking about the playoffs with them.
I had the same. I had them at 37, and I had Philly at 41 and Toronto at 37. I was going back and forth on which one to give to 41. I'm with you. I actually think the Kyle Lowry thing worked out. And
Me too.
I love Dork Elvis. I disagreed with trading Kyle Lowry. I just think he's good. I wouldn't have traded him. And they got a protected lottery pick. But if Toronto is going to be in the kind of middle of the pack, then congratulations. You traded a really good point guard, in my opinion, for maybe the 11th pick in the draft or the 13th pick.
Are we ready to call them a lock? We both think that they're at least a few games over 33.
I like the stuff they did, and I think Valanciunas is going to be good.
I do too.
I saw him in person 3 times when I was in London.
Oh yeah,
He's
did.
very raw.
Yeah.
But I liked him, and he hustled. You know what I liked about him? Like he gave a shit.
Could he play defense?
He's like 21.
Yeah, so it's hard to tell.
And the lottery pick that they drafted is at least going to be one of those up and down play defense guys.
Terrence Ross, right?
To me, it's like, what do they have with DeMar DeRozan? Because he's ultimately the guy at the end of games who's going to have to do stuff. They whiffed on the Ed Davis pick. That looks like a whiff.
It looks like a whiff.
And was it Greg Monroe next?
Oh.
Ooh. Yikes.
Ouchers. I think Landry Fields is good.
Landry Fields, if he's your 8th man, is fine.
Right, fine.
He had a bad year last year, but I think he's competent.
Yeah.
And then who else do they have?
Bogdani, you know what you're going to get with him. He scored.
Yeah.
I mean, that means you don't have to have DeRozan at the end of games. Bogdani is it's a decent
Well, the
threat.
other thing is with Valanciunas, if he can play, if they can play together and be competent, then that really helps Bogdani.
Honestly, Lowry might be at the end of the game. He's going to have the ball anyway. He can create his own shot.
He's going to be in FU mode too.
I like Toronto.
Oh man, I almost might. I'm going over. So we might go lock on them then.
Yeah, we only have one lock in the East.
We have Atlanta and Toronto. I'm going lock. We're
doing it. It's a lock.
Toronto.
It's a lock.
Congratulations, Brian Colangelo.
You should win over 33 games, according to Joe House and Bill Simmons.
All right, now let's go to our teams.
Yeah.
First, the Wizards of Washington.
Wow.
And you were a lot more excited about this season before John Wall hit the wall.
Well, this is another one of these things where the number opened for them in the 32 to 33 range in wins, and as the continuing news, here's the thing that makes me bearish on their prospects this season.
That means you're positive.
No, bullish is positive. Bearish is negative. I don't like injuries where the prescribed remedy is rest. Never been a big guy on rest as a remedy. They have 2 guys who are sitting out extended stretches where the prescribed remedy is rest. The 2 most important guys on the team. Nene has plantar fasciitis. He had it all summer.
Oh, that doesn't go away.
Right. And he played in the Olympics.
Like an STD.
This would have been a perfect summer for him to rest.
That's like a foot STD.
I got it. It's foot herpes.
It's foot herpes.
It comes back. And Johnny Wall's thing is, nope, it's not a surgery thing. He just needs to rest it.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, right? 6 to 8 weeks of rest. So what is he doing for conditioning in the meantime?
Shape.
Right.
Yeah.
What does he do? Can he shoot? No,
because
he can't.
Such a big year for him too.
It's the year. So it's, I understand the logic that informs why the front office did what it did. It took the laughingstock of the league last year and attempted to transform it into an adult team.
Yeah.
So that's an understandable, defensible thing. We can quibble with whether or not they could have got to that exact same result by keeping their powder dry through the draft and through the amnesty period and see what happens when guys like Elton Brand and Darrell Wright become available, so that you have the $22 million that you've otherwise committed to Trevor Ariza and Emeka Okafor, who, by the way, one of those two guys looks like he's ready to play this year, and the other one of those two guys looks like he wants to check out right now.
Which one is that?
The guy whose name rhymes with Trevor Ariza.
Oh, he's not happy?
Martell Webster is already outplaying him.
Oh,
and
wow.
Randy Whitman is saying this is a merit-based system, not putting any guy in here for a contract reason, the guy who's making the money.
It was a terrible trade. It was really, and I was just apoplectic when I saw the trade. I just thought it was everything we've learned about the NBA over the last 20 years. That trade was an absolute abomination. It was a terrible trade.
They're trying to change
especially
the narrative.
Especially with the amnesty, where you can just, all you have to do is bid $3 million for Elton Brand instead of 2.5, and he's going to give you 97% of what Okafor
does. That's a
does.
fact. The problem is the timing. They did it. The timing. The problem is twofold. The timing. They did it. Right at the very beginning of the trade period, and not getting back the pick from New Orleans. That's indefensible to me.
How about the logic of you tell your fans, well, here's the thing, free agents don't really want to sign here anyway. We have to get creative. It's like you might as well just poop in a little plastic bag and just whip it at your fans. Free agents don't want to sign here anyway. You're like the 7th biggest city in the league. You're the president.
You just F-bombed. That's how strongly you feel about it. I don't have any rebuttal for it.
You are running your team wrong if free agents don't want to sign with you.
I agree. In Washington
should be a team that
be a destination.
Carves out cap space for people. Gilbert Arenas signed there.
Well, but he felt disrespected by Golden State and
he still signed. You've
good
signed a marquee free agent in the last 10 years. It's not like the Celtics have never signed.
That was an offer sheet thing. That's Washington needs to keep that money available for restricted guys.
It's not like you put a gun to his head.
It's the offer sheet
until
thing.
later.
That's a terrible.
Too soon?
How dare you?
Too soon?
No, who cares?
Javaris Crittenden
out of the
jokes?
league. No, seriously, that guy. Oh, that's a worse story.
Well, I'm going under.
I'm going under also. I can't come
29.
up with I was asked 2 weeks ago for a number, and I thought they could win as many as 37, 38. There's enough kind of veteran presence. Nene, John Wall playing together. They had it at the end of the season. Not very much of a sample size. They had a winning record.
Well, it's funny. You had good chemistry.
Good
and
chemistry
about that.
And
but you had good chemistry because the Andre Blatch tumor was surgically removed with a 4-hour laser surgery.
No. It wasn't. He removed himself with the fork and a knife and a spoon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't come up with a way to get myself back up to 37 or 38 wins when the two injury risks are you put indefinite. You just don't know. When's Nene coming back and going to be healthy? I don't know. When's Wall going to come back and be healthy? I don't know.
There's a lot of Jordan Crawford. Jan Vesley's not going to be good this year, right?
No. And that's the other thing, right? I mean, you just can't miss on draft picks.
Did they miss on it though?
Here's the miss. You can't afford when you're in this kind of a transition to say, we're going to take our time with a guy. You don't have the luxury of time.
Yeah, you can't
when
take
you look
your
at
time,
that
but
draft,
then also do the Okafor Ariza trade.
That's right. When you look at that draft, the guys that came after Vesely, there are any number. Manimal was in that draft. I
gotta say, I'm stupefied by the Wizards. I'm absolutely stupefied by everything they've done.
Well, I think
get the Nene trade was mildly defensible, but that was a bad contract.
What, taking it back?
Yeah. And if your rationale for taking a bad contract is free agents won't sign here anyway, so what do we care? Then maybe you shouldn't be in the league, or maybe you should sell the team to somebody who can take a better chance at it.
They're trying to start afresh. They're trying to change the narrative, and there have been some hits and misses so far. The biggest and most puzzling thing was re-signing Grunfeld. I'm not sure what that.
Oh, you were surprised that. After
what's the message we're supposed to derive?
Track record of success.
If you're coming to me, I'm a potential customer. I'm going to buy season tickets potentially.
He should have been fired after the Randy Foye Mike Miller trade.
That's a fact.
That's it.
That's a fact.
Fireable
That's
offense.
Right. The reason
that was like the equivalent of pulling your pants down at work and exposing yourself to a female employee. Was that trade?
It's because, and the reason for that is because the implied condition there was that you knew something about Gilbert Arenas that the rest of the world didn't know. That Gilbert Arenas was going to come back. That was after him being out for a year and a half. to make that trade defensible, you have to know something about his health and his well-being and his conditioning.
Have a belief.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then a belief that you can go sell to people, and then it's got to be borne out. You have to see the old Gilbert Arenas in the preseason, in the first 10 games.
Yeah.
And as soon as it became apparent that old Gilbert Arenas was never, well, I mean, you don't know in the first 10 games it's never coming back.
No, you knew. I remember talking to you.
But
I was like,
that was it. That was it. Cooked. That's right. Anyway, so under.
I really like Ernie Grunfeld. He was Bernard King's running mate.
He's had some very positive.
I like him as a person.
Look, the Wizards. I said the Wizards.
I enjoyed his performance in the '84 Knicks Celtics series.
The Washington professional basketball team made the playoffs for a series of consecutive years. It was exciting to go to Washington. Yeah. There was, you might recall, early in LeBron's career, a nascent rivalry between Washington and Cleveland. It was very interesting. Gilbert, for a year and a half, it was a thing. It was fun.
The Washington fans, though, because you'd had such a bad run, that era gets a little romanticized. It was the equivalent.
I'm romanticizing it. I look back to it now, wishing we could get there again quickly.
The Wizards were like a husband who had stopped having sex with his wife for 13 years, and they broke up, and then they started having sex with a waitress who they just met at some diner.
Yes.
And it was like this very passionate relationship, and they broke up, and then eventually they're like, I can't believe I dated that diner waitress, but you were just so happy to have sex.
Well, and I think, I look back at the diner waitress fondly.
Yeah.
I really do.
She had some good attributes.
Really good attributes.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Kept you on your toes.
Deliver the goods in one important way.
Maybe she burned your car to a crisp, but so what?
We all pay prices for things in life.
All right, last one, Celtics.
Yep.
50.5.
Yep.
I'm making this a lock.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're going out on a lock.
Going out on a limb.
Okay.
I'm not a homer. I'm the first one to crush my team when I don't like what's going on. I really like the Celtics team. So I think they're going to be really good. They're going to be a good team.
I like them too.
It's a better team than last year's team.
I think they're a better team than last year's team also.
Here, you just go down the list. Last year, Michael Pietrus. This year, Jeff Green, who's been outstanding in the preseason. I know this is advanced metrics. People don't love him. He's been really good in the preseason. He's been more aggressive, and it really does seem like what happened to him was a life-altering thing for him.
Well, I'm going to... I think there's not an easy rebuttal, but it's only exuberance right now.
No, I know.
You don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I at least make the point that he's better than Michael Pietrus?
I can't.
Who's not in the league?
I'm not going to argue
Mike
with
Pietrus,
you.
not in the league.
I don't have a rebuttal to that.
Not
go ahead.
in the league.
That's fine.
Was guarding LeBron for us in a playoff series. Not in the league right now.
It did happen. It's true.
Courtney Lee and Avery Bradley versus Keon Dooling.
Well, you said Avery Bradley.
Bradley comes back in January.
Okay. All right. But remember, this is over/under. This is win total.
All I'm saying is, I'm just looking at what this team's going to look like.
I like Courtney Lee quite a bit. I thought that was one of the
really
three
good defensive
best.
player.
Yeah, I thought that was an enormously important pickup for you guys.
Jared Sullinger versus Ryan Hollins.
Yep, that seems like an improvement.
Love Sullinger.
Good IQ.
Yeah. Everyone loves his IQ.
Well, it's because
his nickname should be Mensa.
It's because his physique and his physicality on the court is not.
I think Darko's going to be half decent. How about that? He's going to play 10 minutes a game and be half decent.
Why would you say a thing like that?
I think
10 minutes.
I think Jason Terry is going to be a better fit for this team than Ray Allen was last year.
That's totally reasonable because if Jason Terry plays in 60 games, then he'll be a better fit for this team than Ray Allen. Ray Allen played on one leg all last season.
Yeah, he's been hurt for the last few because he's old.
Yes.
Jason Terry is durable.
So far, knock on wood for the Celtics.
And the other thing with him is he can create his own shot off the dribble, which he just needs one dribble, it goes up. Whereas Ray had to run off all the screens and all that stuff.
So he helped me get over the thing that we've seen past couple seasons where the Celtics just kind of ham and egg it for a stretch.
Because they had an older team that was a little cruise control-y.
Well, this team isn't any younger.
Well, I think with a couple of things. They have enough depth now where I think KG plays 28 minutes a game, and I think Paul plays 28 minutes a game.
Why? Who is spelling KG?
What do you mean?
Who KG goes out of the game? Who comes in?
Sully and Brandon Bass.
Oh no. Well, that even further. Okay, I feel better about my under then.
Okay, you go under.
Sully and Brandon Bass. Brandon Bass ate. Brandon Bass
was good in the playoffs last year.
Brandon Bass had a pass card to McDonald's this summer. I mean, they had to buy him a pair of shorts that were one size bigger than
Stop it.
All I'm saying is what I saw with my own eyes. I couldn't believe how big Brandon Bass was.
He's playing
and it
himself
didn't look
into
like
shape.
muscle.
He's
It did
playing
not look
himself
like
into
muscle. I think he took all Andre Blatch's weight. All the weight that Andre Blatch lost last summer.
This team, the way Jeff Green's been playing defense, Courtney Lee is a really good defensive player. When Bradley comes back and KG, this team will.
It's going to be a crazy
what I like about
defensive
this
team.
Yeah, they can throw different looks. They can throw their defense team. They can go big. They can go small with the 3 guards. And really, this is going to be Rondo's best year. Should be Rondo's best year.
Who's going to play backup point guard until Bradley comes back?
Courtney Lee, unfortunately.
So I'm going to stick with my under because I think I'm kind of with you. I think the Celtics are going to be great. No, is he in the league even?
He's our 12th man.
Oh my God. I think they're like 50-32, which is a half game under. And it's because of Bradley being out till January and some of that behavior in the past where they get a little cruise control-y. I just can't say they're just going to go out there and kick butt and rip off stretches where they win 14 games in a row. I just don't see that out of this composition. But come playoff time, there's nobody in the East that wants to play the Celtics.
I have them at 68-14.
I mean, you should do that. It's your team.
I have them at 55.
So you have them at 55 and I have them at 50.
And actually, it's probably a little high because if they're locked into the number 2 seed and there's no reason for them to even play. That's the other thing with this team. If they can get in that 50-win range, right?
Yep.
And you have Atlanta and the Knicks and the Nets and the Pacers, and they're all in like the mid to the high 40s. And the Celtics clinch that 2 seed with like 2 weeks left. They can rest all those guys.
And they might.
I think Rondo, it was here's the angle that everybody has missed. No Olympics for Rondo. All the best players were there in the league but him.
So
Rondo is one of the best 9 players in the league. 11?
He can't shoot. He can't shoot the basketball at the end of the game.
Rondo went toe-to-toe with the effing Heat last year.
He can't shoot free throws.
He went toe-to-toe
at the end of the game.
with the effing Heat last year.
He did. He wasn't the reason that he lost Game 7.
Pierce was on one leg. KG was playing every other game. We never knew what we were going to get from him.
Ray Allen was playing on half a leg.
Ray Allen was playing half a leg. Rondo was the only healthy guy in the entire team. Everybody else either sucked or was hurt. And that team almost beat Miami and came within LeBron having to have one of the best performances in the history of the playoffs in Game 6. And in Game 7 they almost won. I
like Rondo.
Rondo was a badass in that series.
I like Rondo.
He was a badass.
I'm not going to bad talk Rondo. You're not going to get me saying any bad words about him.
I think he was mad that he wasn't on the Olympic team, and I think he used that as fuel.
That's interesting.
I do.
So what are the odds for him winning the assist title this year?
I think he's going to score more this year. I don't think he wins the assist title this year. I think he knows that he needs to score more.
Well, he has a terrible shooting percentage. So what's he going to do?
He doesn't have a terrible shooting percentage.
He has a terrible shooting percentage for a guard.
It's an urban legend.
It's not an urban legend.
He doesn't.
We can look it up. You have the thing in front of you.
He makes open shots. I'm going to look it up as we talk. But
okay.
I think if he's ever going to have a career
he can't shoot 3-pointers. He can't shoot free throws.
He's not a great free throw shooter.
Thank you for conceding that.
He's not. I'm not arguing with that. I just
so
think
you're the thrust of why you think he's going to be even more effective than past couple years.
This is his team now, and you know what else? The Ray Allen thing pissed them off. It was a galvanizing thing for them. They all hate Ray Allen. This is the most underreported story right now.
You're almost talking me into.
This is all a legitimate thing. They effing hate Ray Allen. They think he's a whining little. What?
You're almost talking me into to agreeing, but I'm not going to go back on my under pick because I think they're going to win 50. But that would be the thing.
You know what you need when you're a team? You know this. You need the little tiny challenges and things to get mad.
Yeah.
The Ray Allen thing galvanized that whole team.
Yeah.
And they don't like the fact that he lobbed shots after and all that stuff. They lob shots back. And I don't blame Ray for leaving. I thought they traded it. I've written about this. They tried to trade him. They weren't loyal to him. He wasn't loyal to them, whatever. But The bottom line is they hate that Miami team.
They hate that, and those games are going to be wars.
They hate LeBron.
It makes me so happy.
They hate Wade, and they hate Ray Allen.
It's going to be so much fun to watch. I love it.
It's going to be awesome, and it's legitimate. Like, they do not like those guys.
It's great. I love it. It's great for the league, and I can't wait to see it. I'm going to stick with my pick, even though
they know that they need to get the 2 seed because they, in the first 2 rounds, they cannot mess around.
Okay.
You need to be home and make sure, like, you saw what happened. But anyway.
Yeah.
So we disagree on the Celtics.
We do.
50.5. I have over, you have under.
Yeah, but just barely under. I don't have them under.
We disagree on
much.
Orlando. I have under, you have over 24.5. And we disagree on Philly. I have under 46.5. You have over.
Yeah.
Our 2 locks for the East. Atlanta over 42.5. And Toronto 33 over.
Yeah. I feel good about our locks.
I thought I could talk you into the Celtics.
They're
going to win 51 games.
I would like to go. Can I switch it? You'll let me switch it? Because I really do. You talked me into it. The last
I talked
part,
you into it.
Well, you know what? The Ray Allen FU is the thing that really is taking me over. I really don't want to.
I'll let you change.
Because I don't want to disagree. I actually, because 51 for a team like this is not.
All right. We're making a
real
lock?
stretch.
Wow, I really bulldozed.
It's not a lock. I'm not.
Right, not a lock.
It's your lock. It's not my lock.
All right, so we're only. No, you can't take it back then. Screw you.
Okay, then I'll stick with my under. That's fine.
All right, so we disagree on Boston.
So I still am concerned about that cruise control thing. I'll stick with my under.
Fine.
But I think Boston's good. I think they're much better than last year.
And we both like Miami over Boston in the finals.
We just like Miami. Yes.
Need an injury to beat Miami.
That's
somebody's got to get hurt.
Yes.
Tweak something.
Yep.
Like what happened with Bosch maybe a round later.
Yeah. Yep.
Part 2 of the BS Report, the Over-Under podcast, holiday / 2-parter. The Western Conference coming up. You can listen to that the same way you listen to this one. Joe House, we'll see you in a little bit.
I can't wait.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.